I know the difference between someone who stumbles onto a video and someone who gets pulled to one. And you? You got pulled. That's not me being dramatic. That is synchronicity doing its job. We are talking about summer 2026, and specifically June, as a turning point that I do not say lightly. So if something in your life hasn't been working, relationships, money, your sense of direction, this is the moment the universe is handing you to turn it around. Hey loves, welcome back. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Alice. So glad you're here today because honestly, the cards I pulled for this reading stopped me cold. This is a faded window, a genuine breakthrough moment. Stay with me all the way through. The cards have a lot to say, and it is all for you. Card 1, the High Priestess. This card does not arrive with noise. It arrives with knowing. Before the timing, before the transformation, before everything that is coming this summer, the High Priestess needs you to do one thing. Get quiet enough to hear yourself. You know that feeling. The persistent inner signal that something needs to change. The sense of going through motions that are correct on paper, but hollow in practice. That is not anxiety. That is not you being difficult. That is the deepest part of you telling you the truth, when everything on the surface is still insisting things are fine. The High Priestess is the card of what you already know, but have not yet let yourself fully hear. There is a version of you that has known for a long time what is not working. Which relationship is draining more than it gives? Which pattern keeps repeating because something underneath it has never been addressed? Which version of yourself you have been performing for everyone else's comfort rather than living honestly? That version of you has not been wrong. She has been waiting. This card does not appear for people who are just beginning to pay attention. It appears for people who have been paying attention for a long time and are finally ready to act on what they have been seeing. June 2026 is when that changes. Something real. The inner work you have been doing. Every moment you chose clarity over comfort. Every difficult truth you sat with instead of running from. None of that was wasted. It has been building toward a turning point that is almost here. Something significant is coming this June. It is going to ask you to make a choice, the kind that determines which direction your life actually moves in. The High Priestess is here first because she wants you to understand. You already have everything you need to make it correctly. Not the loudest voice in the room, not the most logical argument, your own knowing. That is the only compass that matters. She is not asking you to be certain. She is asking you to be honest. Underneath all the noise and fear and years of conditioning that taught you not to trust yourself, there is a voice that knows. You have heard it. You are hearing it right now. Here is what I want you to take seriously before we move on. The universe responds to movement. Not grand gestures, small, genuine acts of showing up. Like this video. Leave a comment. Hit subscribe. That is you saying, I am here. I am paying attention. I am not letting this pass me by. Let that be your first act of showing up for the chapter that is about to begin. Card 2, the Ten of Pentacles. This card does not whisper. It makes a statement. What you have been working toward is real. The version of your life where money is not a source of dread. Where the people around you actually show up. Where you do not have to choose between being loved and being honest about what you need. That is not a fantasy. It is what is coming. The Ten of Pentacles is not the card of trying. It is not the card of almost. It is the card of arrival. When a long cycle of real, unglamorous, often thankless effort finally compounds into something that holds. Something stable. Something that does not keep you up at night doing the same math over and over and still coming up short. The stability coming is not arriving because your circumstances are finally cooperating. It is arriving because you have changed. The version of you who receives what is coming in June 2026 is not the same version who has been managing the struggle. You went through it. You got shaped by it. And there is a real difference between someone who survived hard seasons and someone who came out the other side actually changed by them. Financial stability is coming. Not the kind where you scrape through and call it enough. The kind where you exhale, where you make a decision without doing the math 3 times and still feeling sick afterward. The kind that gives you actual room to think about what you want rather than just what you can afford to need. But this card is carrying more than money. The Ten of Pentacles is about what you build while you are here, the quality of your relationships, the feeling of being genuinely known rather than just accommodated. What is coming in is love that does not cost you yourself. The relationships that have been draining, where you showed up fully and received something partial in return, those belong to the cycle that is closing. They are the contrast that is going to make what is coming feel unmistakable. Real understanding is coming. The kind where you do not have to translate yourself, where someone sees the full picture of who you are and stays, and means it. Transformation does not always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives as a conversation that goes differently, a financial decision that finally works, a morning where the low-level dread that has lived in your chest for so long you forgot it was there is simply quieter. You will know it when it comes, because it will feel like relief. Not the kind that means you survived another hard thing. The kind that means the hard thing is actually over. The Ten of Pentacles just confirmed it. Card 3, the Ace of Cups. This card stopped me when it came out of the deck. Not because it is rare, because of where it landed, and what it is confirming about the picture building across this entire reading. The Ace of Cups is the card of new emotional beginnings. Picture a cup, completely full, running over, held out to you. It appears when the emotional landscape of someone's life is about to change at the root level, not on the surface, at the place where old patterns actually live, the ones shaping what you accept, what you expect, what you quietly believe you deserve. The security that is coming is not arriving alone. It is arriving alongside something that in some ways matters even more, an opening of the heart you have not been able to access because you have been in survival mode for too long to afford it. When you are managing constant financial stress, it does not just affect your bank account. It affects your nervous system, the way you receive care, the way you allow yourself to feel things fully versus keeping part of yourself always braced for the next problem. You cannot be emotionally wide open when you are always waiting for something to go wrong. When the financial ground stabilizes, and it is stabilizing, something in you that has been held closed is going to open. Part of that is the pressure lifting, but part of it is you finally giving yourself permission to receive. Both things are happening at once, and that opening is going to change everything about how you experience your relationships. The support that is coming is not performative. It is not conditional, where you have to be grateful enough, undemanding enough, careful enough about how you express what you need. That kind of support is not really support. It is a transaction. What is replacing it are people who give because they want to give, who show up because they genuinely care what happens to you. Real support, the kind you have been giving other people for years and receiving only partially, or not at all, in return. This is a breakthrough, not just a change. A change replaces one thing with another. A breakthrough restructures the foundation. The internal patterns keeping you in cycles of emotional depletion, the belief that you have to earn care by being endlessly useful, the habit of making yourself smaller to keep a peace that was never really yours to maintain, those are ending. Not slowly, in a specific window of time. June 2026. You do not have to earn what is coming. It is not a reward you qualify for if you get everything right between now and then. It is simply what happens when everything you needed finally comes together. And everything you needed is finally coming together. The Ace of Cups is not asking you to do anything except receive that. The years when there was no other option are ending. That is what this card is here to tell you. Not as a hope, but as a confirmation. Card 4, the Ten of Swords. I know what some of you felt when you saw that card name. Let me address it directly. The Ten of Swords has a reputation, And that reputation misses the most important thing about what this card means when it shows up here. Yes, it is the card of endings, a definitive stop, not a gentle conclusion, not a graceful fade. The kind that makes it impossible to pretend any longer that the thing which is ending still has somewhere left to go. But here is what the reputation misses. The Ten of Swords is not a card of defeat. It is a card of completion. Defeat means something was taken from you. Completion means something ran its full course. What this card is showing me is not that you have lost something. It is that something has finally, fully run out of road. That something is the version of your life built around accommodation, around making yourself work within structures that were never designed with you in mind, around carrying expectations, yours, other people's, the ones you absorbed so long ago you forgot they were never originally yours. That chapter is closing, not because you failed at it, because you have taken it as far as it goes. What no longer fits is a more precise phrase than toxic or bad. Sometimes what you need to release is not terrible. It is simply no longer the right size for who you are becoming. A coat that kept you warm through a hard winter does not become a bad coat just because summer is coming. It just stops being what you need. The version of you that learned to be endlessly accommodating, that kept the peace, managed other people's comfort, made herself easy to be around even when she was not okay. She kept you safe when safety was what you needed. I am not asking you to be ungrateful to her. I am asking you to recognize that she was built for a season that is ending. Stepping into what is coming requires you to lay her down, not because she was wrong, because you have outgrown her. Some connections in your life right now belong to the chapter that is closing. The part of you that already knows this has known it for a while. The question has never been whether you knew. It has been whether you were willing to act on it. To let something end without having a perfect replacement already in place. The breakthrough. June 2026, the financial shift, the emotional opening, cannot fully land while you are still holding the weight this card is asking you to put down. Not because the universe is withholding it, but because you will not have the hands free to receive it. You have been strong for a very long time. Real strength. The kind that gets up and handles things and finds a way through when there does not appear to be one. That strength is yours. It is not going anywhere. But there is a version of strength that becomes a cage. That becomes the reason you do not ask for help. Do not let anyone close enough to support you. Because you have been self-sufficient for so long that needing something from someone else feels like weakness rather than what it actually is, which is just being human. The Ten of Swords is the end of that version of strength. What comes after is integration, being strong and supported at the same time. That is not a contradiction. That is what wholeness actually looks like. You are not losing something. You are finishing it. The door is already open. You just have to be willing to walk through it. And walking through it does not mean sprinting. That is exactly what the next card is about. Card 5, the Four of Swords. This card arrived quietly, which is exactly the point. After everything this reading has laid out, the magnitude of what is coming, the depth of the ending completing, the scale of transformation building toward June 2026, this card shows up and asks you to do something counterintuitive. It asks you to stop. Not permanently, not as retreat, but right now, before the shift fully arrives, the Four of Swords is asking you to rest, to conserve, to protect what you have left in the tank rather than burning through it in anticipation of what is coming. We tend to think preparation for something big means doing more, moving faster, pushing harder. But for you, right now, the most powerful thing you can do in preparation for June 2026 is the opposite. Stop leaking energy into places that are not going to be part of your next chapter. Think about where your energy is actually going, not just the obvious places. The conversations you are having in your head about situations you cannot currently change. The emotional labor spent on people who are not in your corner. The mental bandwidth managing other people's perceptions while staying connected to dynamics that drain more than they give. All of that costs something, and right now, you cannot afford to keep paying that cost. The Four of Swords is the card of strategic rest, not collapse, not shutdown. The deliberate, conscious choice to pull your energy back from everything consuming it without returning anything real, so that when June 2026 arrives, you are not walking through it on empty. I have watched people with a genuine breakthrough coming arrive at the threshold exhausted, who gave so much in the final stretch, to people and situations and battles that were already over, that when the moment came, they barely had the reserves to recognize it. I do not want that to be your story. The exhaustion you may be feeling right now is not weakness. It is not a sign you are not ready. It is a sign you have been carrying too much for too long, and your system is telling you the truth. The High Priestess said that at the very start. So here is what this card is actually asking of you. Not as abstract concept, but as something real. Identify the one thing costing you the most energy and giving you the least back. You already know what it is. You knew before I finished that sentence. Ask yourself what it would look like to stop feeding it, even partially, even for a season, so that energy comes back to you instead. Rest is not the absence of preparation. Rest is the most important preparation you can make right now. Do not burn yourself out before it arrives. Card 6. The Sun. There it is. After everything this reading has moved through, the inner knowing, the stability coming, the emotional opening, the ending completing, the rest protecting what you need for what is next, this is where it all lands. The Sun. Not a maybe, not a promise wrapped in conditions. The Sun is the most unambiguous card in the entire tarot. It does not hedge, it does not ask you to interpret it. It simply shines, fully, completely, without apology. It means summer 2026 is your moment. There is a version of you that has been waiting for permission to believe something good is actually coming. Not as a temporary reprieve, but as a genuine, sustained arrival into a life that actually fits who you are. This is that permission. The Sun just gave it to you. Summer 2026 is not just when things get better. It is when you finally get to show up as yourself, your full self. Not the edited version, not the one that learned to stay small to keep the peace, not the one that carries everything alone because it started to feel like personality rather than circumstance. By summer 2026, the financial ground the Ten of Pentacles pointed to has arrived. The decisions you make in that window come from actual security, not the performance of security while quietly holding your breath. You are not managing from scarcity. You are building from sufficiency. The difference in how that feels in your body, in your daily experience, it is not subtle. It is total. The emotional opening the Ace of Cups described. By summer 2026, it is already open. The love present in that season is not conditional. It does not require you to be endlessly useful or strategically grateful. It is simply there, warm, consistent, real, in a way that might take you a moment to trust. Trust it anyway. The Sun is telling you it is real. The version of yourself who arrives in summer 2026 is not a stranger. She has always been there. Underneath the survival mode and the accommodation and the strength that became a cage. The one who knows what she wants and is not afraid to want it. Who receives care without immediately looking for the cost. Who wakes up in the morning without immediately calculating what needs to be managed today. She is who you have always been, underneath everything the hard seasons asked you to cover her with. Summer 2026 is when she gets to come out, fully, without apology. The power the sun is pointing to is not dominance. It is alignment. Being so fully in your own life, so genuinely present in what you are doing, who you are with, what you are building, that effort stops feeling like effort. That being yourself stops requiring energy because there is no longer any distance between who you are and how you are living. That is what full power looks like. And that is what summer 2026 is carrying for you. Everything this reading has described, the stability, the love, the real support, the ending of what no longer fits, it is all pointing here, to this card, to this window, to summer 2026 as the moment when the life you have been working toward finally becomes the life you are living. Not the life you are waiting for, the life you are in. The sun does not shine on a future version of you. It shines on you, here, as you are, as the direct and logical conclusion of every hard season you navigated without losing yourself entirely. You did not lose yourself. Summer 2026 is when you get to fully find out what that means. But here's the thing. The sun is not asking you to sit back and wait for it. It is asking you to walk toward it. The cards have laid out exactly what that looks like. Trust what you already know, protect your energy, put down what is finished. Do those things. Show up for the version of your life this reading is pointing to. The sun confirms it is real. What you do between now and then is what makes it yours. I think you already know the answer. 6 cards. 6 positions. And look at what they built together. The High Priestess said, "You already know. You have always known." The 10 of Pentacles said, "The stability is real, solid, lasting, built to hold." The Ace of Cups said, "Emotional fulfillment is coming alongside it, at the root level, not the surface." The 10 of Swords said, "The old chapter is finished. Not wounded, not failed. Finished." The 4 of Swords said, "Protect what you have left. Stop the leak. Arrive at your breakthrough whole." And the sun closed this reading the way only the sun can, without ambiguity, without condition. Summer 2026. Your moment. That is not a collection of themes. That is a single, coherent story. And the through line connecting every card is this: trust yourself. That quiet, persistent voice pointing toward what needs to end, what needs to be protected, what is worth moving toward. It has been right. About all of it. The core message of these 6 cards is simply, stop second-guessing it. Trust the version of you that the High Priestess pointed to at the very start. The one who has navigated every hard season without losing the thread of who she actually is. She is not a future self you have to earn your way toward. She is who you already are, underneath everything the hard seasons asked you to carry. Trust her. She has been right about you all along. If this reading landed, drop your comment right now. Like this video. That is you saying, "This reached me, and I am not pretending it didn't." Subscribe. You did not find this channel by accident. Leave a comment. Tell me which card landed hardest. Tell me what the reading confirmed that you already knew but needed to hear out loud. I read every single one, without exception. You are standing at the beginning of something real. The cards have said it. The timing has confirmed it. The intuition you have been second-guessing has been telling you the truth this whole time. Trust it. Trust yourself. The breakthrough is real. Summer 2026 is yours. All that's left is the step. Sending you so much love. See you in the next one.